I just wanted to take a moment to go over how I use Milanote to draft my novels, or how I plan to use it actually. I've gone through an entire playlist of how you can use Milanote, but there wasn't very many things that or very many authors who did videos on how they might use Milanote to actually draft instead of just using it for, like, let's say mood boards or just light planning or brainstorming. I plan on actually using Milanote for extensively for drafting. And I just want to go over how I plan on doing it, and why I chose Milanote over other programs. So I have used actually Notion, Obsidian, Scrintl, Latix, and a few others, Heptabase as well. And none of them fit my needs as much as Milanote has. So I needed something that's like web-based that I can use on my lunch breaks when I'm at work, because you know how workplaces, they do not let you install other programs. So if it's web-based, you can just open up a browser and just open up your board and start drafting away when you have free time during lunch. Or if you're on the go, you could write something on your phone, and it's actually really great. It has a mobile app that works very, very, very well, and it's very fluid. And if you don't want to organize on your phone, you could just write quick notes on there. If you're on the fly and you think of an idea, you can write a note and it'll end up here. And then you can take that note and you can place it anywhere you want when you're on your computer, anywhere you want on your boards. So it's very versatile in that sense. Now, there are some drawbacks. I have been using it for a month now. And yes, there are some drawbacks in the sense that it doesn't let you link to, like, create links to documents. So for example, this is a note and you can't, and this is another note, and you cannot create a link for this note within this note, like you can in Obsidian or basically anything else, in Scrintl or Notion or anything else. But you can link it up in this way. Really, it's like a visual link. Just wait until it highlights a note and then let go, and it creates that link, and then it'll follow it around anywhere you want, whenever you move it around. But yeah, you can't just click on a link and then it'll lead you to that. And I don't really actually mind that. It's a small thing that would have been nice to have, but and I was kind of hesitant to it, to not having that feature. But then I realized that you could just create manual links in a way, or manual tags. So you could just have something like this where you do Paxi. So that's my character's name, and just create a manual tag like that. It's not an actual tag because you can't link into it, but I'm just creating manual identifier on both these notes, to let myself know these are related in this way. And then you can just do control find, sorry, here, and then don't use this one, use this one, and then just do Paxi, and it'll show you where it ends up being. Okay. So I mean, if you're in another board and you're clicking on that link, it'll end up in the center of the board, but it'll highlight the text that you're looking for. So then you'll still have to move around manually to find that text, but a small drawback. Another thing that I guess, like, so what I really liked about it is the visual appeal of it, and the fact that it works just like how my brain does. So it's kind of like post-it notes, where if you think of something, you just put it in there and then write whatever. And then once you start having enough that relates to one another, you bring in a column like this, and then you put your notes that relate to each other on here. And you can make that column a different color. You can make the notes a different color, etc. And then you can link things up that way. And then one good thing about the columns that I really, really, really like is that you can close it up like this. And you can put a summary of what's in there. So like, there's some spoilers. I hope you don't mind that. But you can, yeah, close it up like that, and then, or say this is chapter one, and then you can put it anywhere else. And then if you open it on top of something else, let's say you put it here, and then you open it up, it'll move the other things down below. It's very nice in that way. Now, I did worry that I'm gonna open this up. Okay, delete. I did worry that I'm going to get really anal with this when I start organizing it, which I have started organizing. So the way my brain works is that it's a huge big dump, and I try to write kind of like within the plot thread. So like for example, if I think of a dialogue that's funny, um I'll write like the original scene that I think the dialogue would appear in, and then I would write I would think, okay, well, if this is here, then I need it to lead up to that point, or I need other scenes that mention it, or this is the whole arc that relates to that. And then obviously part of that arc would relate to some other arc here, and et cetera, et cetera. So I know like this is just how I think, and yeah, like it could be really a lot. And so I'm pretty sure other people think like this as well. And I thought this was going to be kind of a drawback, but I realized this is what I'm going to end up doing. This is my plan for it. Hopefully, it gives you some ideas that I copied this brainstorm, the original brainstorming session, and I made it into a different one, and I added a date to it. And this is what I've organized from that into here. So what I plan on doing is that I'm going to go in cycles. So basically, you have the brainstorming, then you have the organizing, and then you have maybe I'll go and draft if I have enough to wrap up one chapter and start. Otherwise, I'll go back to brainstorming to add more material to make sure there's no gaps in the story, etc. But right now, that's the brainstorming session copied from here. And then I grabbed, so I organized, like grabbed anything character related and put it in a new board like this and organized it, color coded it. So I know like when I'm doing their plot threads, I know who's who. And it has people, it's going to have places. I will also have characters, places, and things. Um, I'll have other stuff. So like this is a ship and that they're going to be on. These are all the departments that are going to be on that ship or the sections. These are possible um, designs of the ship. Maybe, maybe not. I'm not sure. Or I might consolidate each of them and make it into something like different. I don't know. But those are like the inspirations for it. Like I might like the coloring of one ship, I might like the design of another ship, etc. And you could just plop it here. And what I really like is that you can grab these pictures from anywhere on the web and just plop it in, copy and paste. You don't even have to download it onto your computer. It's fantastic. And then afterwards, this is my world building that I still need to do. I know I have this here. The reason why I'm keeping this stuff, this is from the template itself from Milanote. I'm just keeping it for just inspiration later. If I run out of ideas, I can refer to here and see what they did with their characters. So characteristics, quirks, and flaws, etc. So I'll have ideas to use if I run out of anything. So I'll have prompts basically to help me along. And right now, what I'm doing is I'm taking it and putting it in characters, places, and things. And then and I have the plot grid for it. And then anything else I can think of, I'll extract and place in correct order. This is going to be my main thing that I'm working on. So at first, um, what I'm going to do is that I was worried about it going to be like, really long, but I realized that you can fold it up after, and you can organize it in any way you want, and it's really great that way. And then another thing that I was worried about is that I'm going to get very anal, and I'm going to want to line it up just exactly so. And I thought that was going to waste a lot of my time. Like a Obsidian, you want to set it up like exactly how you want. You want to find the features that you need, etc. And that wastes a lot of time. But here, I realized that it's very quick. So I know there's going to be some manual changes, adjustments here and there. Like for example, if I realize that this is going to be a plot thread of its own, and I need to add it to this line here, um, yeah, like you're going to have to do a lot of some manual maneuvering in that sense, but you can just select all, move it over, bring it a little bit closer or something, like just roundabout. And don't worry, you're gonna be able to just select all of this, just the top, and then distribute, I think this way. Let me just see. No, not that way. This way. And then it'll space it out evenly. And then, yeah, and then let's say you have this aligned here, but you want it aligned perfectly like this. You can do it this way and it aligns it perfectly. And then let's say you have something like here, like this down here, and you're gonna be very like picky about like you want to make sure that everything lines up properly, like across the board. I am like that. So I was worried about that until I learned about that you can just align it, get it to align for you perfectly, and now everything aligns perfectly across the top. Now I do want, let's say you want the spacing to be a little bit closer. then you could just do it like this. So move this over like this, and then select all, distribute horizontally there. And then this, just make sure alignment center. Okay. And then, yeah, everything's pretty good in this sense then. And then my plan is what I'm going to do. I'm going to bring over all my brainstorming ideas into here, organize it across the plot threads, and have all the plot threads line up horizontally. And then I'm going to have it's gonna like kind of like how Brandon Sanderson does it. So he'll have plot threads written out in a document format. So like for example, like he'll have like all these plot threads down here. So Vea, Paxi, and then he'll have bullet points here like this, right, for each plot thread. And then he'll work that out separately. And then he'll be drafting on top here. And then he'll be like, oh, okay, so this needs to go here. So point one needs to go here. So he'll write about it, write point one, and then this point one from Paxi will have to go here at this point. So point one from Paxi will go here. That's how he does his stories on a Word doc. And what I plan on doing here is that once I have like all the plot threads in here, I will probably color each of the notes according to their plot thread colors, and then I'll start bringing them in just like Brandon Sanderson does, and I'll be like, okay, this chapter one can have this portion of it, and it could have this as well at this point, and then once I have chapter one figured out, I can close it up, and then go on to chapter two, or I can align, have the chapters aligned like one after another. So chapter one would be here, chapter two, chapter three. And some of these ideas, so the way it's helping me is that first I can be as disorganized as I like. I can create a post-it and then put it and then organize it later once I realize that several post-it goes in one bucket. I can bring a column in, put it all in one bucket, and then let's say it's all of this goes part of is part of an existing thread, then I can just put it all in one existing thread, delete this if I want, and then I can bring these into the chapters afterwards. I have a copy of the original board, move it onto a new board, and just start bringing in the chapters. So I never worry about like if I'm going to lose something. And then if I have ideas of random scenes that I don't know if it's going to be a part of a full thread, I can just create one here, and then I can just put it in wherever I think it's going to be in. And then if I have more details on that scene, I could just add it to here and then close it up for later. Or if I want to keep it open, so I have like a visual of everything that's going on, then I can do that as well. And yes, there's no linkage to the other boards and whatnot, except for like if you create a linkage like Vea here, and then you create a linkage on the other end, and then use the search feature to find it. Between the boards, you could do that. But I find that if I'm going to be doing this, I'm not going to really need that. And this helps with everything essentially. Like even here with like once I got the chapters lined up, if one scene relates to something else, I can link it up that way. I could link it up later like this. It's really, really cool. And then I can follow the visual for it. I can zoom out and see everything at a bird's eye view. And if I have the plot threads like this, I can work on each plot thread as I think of it. And this could be like a plot or a character or a relationship. So like for example, it could be something like the relationship between Bea and Rai, or Bea and Paxi, and yeah, and so on and so forth. It could be a dialogue like the one that I had in the other board, which is basically the go, go Power Rangers or whatever it was. Um, and then where you have like multiple scenes in one. So it's just to keep the to ensure that everything kind of makes sense down each thread. And the thread doesn't have to be a subplot. It could just be a dialogue range or maybe like equipment or like let's say this connection thing that I want to make sure flows and connects with everything else. Like what else can I think of? Yeah, that's all. Just Yeah, or like let's say if I want to follow this mushroom, that I want to make sure that I am gonna put like hints of this mushroom showing up in other areas as well. Um, so it just gives me an idea like that I am taking care of everything and everything flows kind of logically. And in the end, when I put the plot cards in, these aren't technically scenes. Yes, I can write out full scenes for it. Like here, I have full scenes for it, but it's just it could change. Like I might have a scene here, but I put it in chapter one that has these other plot cards in there, and I can decide to put this, embed this into the scene that already exists, and just condense it. Yeah, and then also once I have that chapter ready, you can actually write the chapter within Milanote itself. So you can start writing here. It's basic formatting, but no big deal. It's really great actually. You don't really need a lot of distractions for it. For it to function very well. And then you could export it into Word document and use it anywhere. And you could put it into a column here. You can change the color of it. You can see a summary of what's inside the document. And then because it's web-based, you can create another tab, like you can open this on a new tab, and then you can do split screen. So you can have the document open on one tab, and then you can have the notes that you have access to on the other tab while you work on your document on this tab on split screen. It's really, really great. I hope to continue using it, and I'll let you know if I run into any hiccups um, when using it. But yeah, I'll give you some tips for it, I guess. So if you want post-its, or sorry, task lists, then you could do this. Two square brackets, space, and creates a task list. You could do control quotes. Oh, no thanks. And then you could do control quotes to make it into a quote block. You can do hashtag for one heading, heading one. You could do two hashtags for heading two, smaller subtitle heading. It doesn't go lower than that. So three, it doesn't do anything. It's just regular text. You could do, what else can you do? I don't use the code blocks really. I don't use those. Yeah. I think that's about it. And then you could just change the colors. You can add a reaction. Um, really anything. Um, yeah. You could add in videos. You can just drag and drop videos from the internet. Like you could just right click and copy on the internet and just paste it into here. You don't need to save it. It's really, really great. What else? I think that's about it. And then you can use a table actually too to do however you like if you want to do your plot grid like this. But I feel like this cell is going to be grow too big for me to use it as a plot thread. I mean, a plot structure thing. I don't really want to do it like that because I want the ability to write as much as I want. And yeah, you could, and everything flows into something else. It's really, really nice. So I just wanted to give this to other writers want, who might be considering, um, I don't know, other apps for writing and didn't really take a closer look at Milanote because other videos just showed basic plotting on it or basic mood boards and didn't really try or make an attempt to do an entire draft on it. I'll do an update to see if I run into any walls later when I'm working on it, but I have really exhausted everything. And the only other wall that I don't know if I mentioned this already, but the only other wall is that sometimes it's not an infinite canvas, so you will run into a block here. It can't extend further than this, but I don't see that being a problem because eventually, like, I'll just create a new board anyway, so it won't matter. And honestly, like reorganizing, brainstorming, and then organizing will get the story into my head a little bit more. Um, and yeah, I hope this helps, honestly. Because I was looking for a video like this before. I hope more writers think of doing videos about Milanote and their extensive drafting process on it. Um, but until then, this is what I have. Hope it helps. Good luck.